Larry Smith brought an instrumental element, if you will, to hip hop. But Larry Smith was able to class it up, make it a brighter sound, and make it come further into the 80s. Matter of fact, I would argue that the Whodini stuff and even It's Like That was a few years ahead of its time, because It's Like That pretty much, and Sucker MCs is where boom bap really begins. It really begins there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to day 14 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line with your host, Chris Stevens. If this is your first time tuning in, the Groove Line is a music YouTube show / podcast where I'll be discussing music from the past, present, and the future with guests and solo. And June is Black Music Month, so the BMM 30 means every day this month, 30 days, there will be an episode talking about a producer, an artist, a song, an album, a band, a genre, something specific to Black music history. We got you covered all month long, so be sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell to be notified of all the new content that drops on this channel. Don't forget to like and comment on the videos too. So if you like something, let's talk about it. And, more eyes and ears will get on this channel when the algorithm pops. So a Saturday morning, even though Saturday mornings are usually reserved for house cleaning music in Black households, shouts out to those of us who grew up awakened by the sound of various old school artists and the cleaning supplies smelling in the air. But today feels like a great day for a hip hop history lesson. And we're going to go all the way back to hip hop's beginning in 1979 and tell you about a gentleman who is not really thought of as rap's first super producer, but he absolutely is. Talking about the late great Larry Smith. Larry Smith was born either some sources have him listed as being born on June 11, 1951. Other sources have him born as June 11, 1952 in Queens, New York. He passed away after a series of complications from a stroke in 2014. But Larry Smith was hip hop's first super producer. Make no mistake about it. When you think about the early stuff that he was involved when he played bass on Curtis Blow's Christmas Rapping, and then he formed the Orange Crush Band, which went out on the road with Curtis Blow, him, Davey DMX, Rakim's brother Ron, and they would back up Curtis Blow. And with all of that, Larry Smith was an accomplished bassist who toured the country just picking up gigs everywhere. He told his mom one day he was gone for a weekend, didn't come back for 6 months. That's how busy his bass was. And he says he got into rap because he used to go into after hours nightclubs. Now, mind you, late 70s, early 80s, disco and house and boogie and electro are all things that are sort of like melding together to create a new Black sound. And after hours clubs was where people used to go when the main joint would close. And apparently the after hour spots was really where things used to be popping. Like some clubs wouldn't close until 5 or 6 in the morning. Now, I don't know how much partying you need to do from say 9:30, 10 to about 5 or 6 in the morning. But again, back then they were, so I mean, I guess they gave them extra energy. That could be the reason. But Larry Smith said the after hours clubs, he said that's where the real people are. That's where the real party animals are. And that's what he tried to make his record sound like. So his earliest production credits go to the late Jimmy Spicer, who of course came up with the Bubble Bunch. The Bubble Bunch is one of my favorite early 80s rap songs because it's those novelty records that rappers used to do in the early 80s. I think we're missing those now. I mean, everybody, you could argue that a lot of the rap stuff that gets on the radio today is novelty stuff, because how much of this stuff do you really think people are going to really remember in 15, 20 years? Respectfully. I mean, there are some. I mean, Kendrick's making music like that, but some of the stuff that gets on now, I don't see this being anything other than novelty music. But yeah, the Bubble Bunch was a novelty record about a overweight family who would go to the disco, eat, party, act a damn fool, and leave. And that is one of my favorite records of the early 80s. When you talk about hip hop's formation, you just need fun records like that. You listen to the bass, because there's a bass that, of course, Larry Smith plays bass, and then of course you have the Bubble Bunch voice, the Bubble Bunch, the Bubble Bunch, the Bubble Bunch, the Bubble Bunch, the Bubble Bunch. Yeah, and that bass is boom, 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 boom. Fun record. And then of course He links up with two of the biggest rap groups of the day. Larry Smith does in 1983. Of course, they weren't the biggest rap groups when they started. Larry Smith got them that status with talking about Run DMC and Whodini. Run DMC, that's where Larry really practiced his rock chops, because not only did Larry Smith play in jazz and R&B bands, but he also played in rock bands as well, which is why you have stuff like Rock Box and King of Rock and It's Like That and Sucker MCs. Sucker MCs was more stripped down though. Larry said he only had a drum programmer for that record because that's all they could afford. So that's basically it. When you hear Sucker MCs, you hear that tap, 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 and Run just goes in. It's one of the best introductions to a rap group that I can actually think of. But Rock Box is my favorite Run DMC song. That and Down with the King. But Down with the King is long after Larry Smith. That shouts out to Pete Rock for that banger. But yeah, Rock Box, Larry Smith enlisted the aid of a real live guitarist, and he played bass on it. And you could just hear the Aerosmith, the AC/DC, the Sex Pistols, the Tin Lizzy. You hear all of that in the background. Just, but that drum, I don't know if that's a live drummer or if that's a drum program, but either way, it works so well together. And you got Run and DMC just, going crazy over that beat. And it's my favorite Run DMC song. Like I could listen to Rock Box back to back to back to back to back and never get tired. The other super rap group that Larry Smith helped blow up was, of course, Whodini. Jaleel Hutchins, the late John Ecstasy Fletcher, and Grandmaster D. So the first, Jaleel said the first record they ever worked on together was 5 Minutes of Funk. He said it took him 30 minutes to do. And if you listen to that bass, if you want like a identifier of a Larry Smith production, the bass is always the tell. And that bass on 5 Minutes of Funk is just absolutely insane. Boom, 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 boom. Like it is a funky bass line for 1984. And it fits. And Jaleel has the best one of the best intro verses I've ever heard. Like I can actually rap the whole 5 Minutes of Funk all the way through. I'll spare you now, but maybe one day when I'm feeling good on here, I'll just go ahead and drop that little bit of hidden talent of mine. But yeah, I can rap 5 Minutes of Funk all the way through word for word without missing a beat. Larry Smith's legacy kind of gets lost in the sauce because Rick Rubin came along a little later on with the whole Walk This Way and all of that stuff, and everyone wants to credit him for that. And I'm not saying Rick Rubin isn't a super producer. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from him, but he wasn't the first, not in hip hop anyway. That title belongs to Larry Smith. Larry Smith did some great early work for Whodini, for Run DMC, for he did Jailhouse Rock for the Fat Boys, and he did a Rodney Dangerfield's Rap and Rodney record. I don't know why he did that. I guess it paid well, but Larry Smith brought an instrumental element, if you will, to hip hop. And all the early rap stuff was band based anyway. You can listen to the new rap language by the Treacherous Three, and of course, Love Rap by Spoonie G, which is the B side of that. And you can hear the live instrumentation in that. But Larry Smith was able to class it up, make it a brighter sound, and make it come further into the 80s. Matter of fact, I would argue that the Whodini stuff and even It's Like That was a few years ahead of its time, because It's Like That pretty much, and Sucker MCs is where boom bap really begins. It really begins there. So Larry Smith deserves all the credit, and I hope that before he left this earth, he knew just how influential he was and how big he was in the formation of hip hop as we know it. Because rappers rap. Absolutely. You can't take away from the fact that these dudes, got to put the words down. You got to make them sound right on beat and all of this stuff, but you got to have a beat behind it. And Larry Smith was the original beat behind the golden era, the golden age of hip hop. And he deserves the title of rap's first super producer. Make no mistake about it. It is his title to own. It is his title to claim. Larry Smith is absolutely rap's first super producer, and may he rest in peace. And that's going to do it for day number 14 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all for riding with me as always. Contact information will be in the description below. If you have any memories about any Larry Smith records that I mentioned in this show, feel free to share them below. And once again, we will be back tomorrow with day number 15. It is Sunday, so it'll be a soulful Sunday. And we will be remembering a debut album from an artist who no one saw coming, but ended up becoming one of the biggest artists of his day. Very vague, but trust me, you'll enjoy this. So stay tuned for day 15. That means we'll be halfway through the BMM 30 series. So thank you for this ride on the Groove Line. Until the next time we ride, y'all be good or be good at it.